Welcome to Authentic Alphas. This is Ayindei, and I'm coming to you from Fountain Blue, South Beach, and I'm with Mrs.
Dr. Trowell.
Oh, excuse me, doctor.
Yes.
Okay, so what type of doctor are you?
I am board certified family medicine.
Okay. All right. So, are you married, single, dating? What's the status?
Literally married to medicine.
Okay, so I take it that you're a career woman.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you're a boss babe. Do you run your own?
100%.
Okay.
Have the red bottoms to prove it.
All right. So, how has that affected your dating life?
Well, considering my husband does the same thing that I do, there is a lot of competition there sometimes. We should be each other's cheerleaders, and most of the time we are. However, there is a little something that's healthy about competition, even in a relationship and a marriage.
Okay, so how long have you been married to your husband? How old are you, and at what age do you guys get married?
So we met in medical school.
Uh-huh.
There's that. We have been married 14 years.
Uh-huh.
And, we'll see about the rest of it.
Let's see. Okay, so you guys met in medical school.
Right.
So, pretty much safe to say you guys pretty much met in the industry, or at least
Correct.
preparing for it.
Correct.
And most of the people in your position are married or are married?
Men, 70% of our graduating class were men, and about 20% were married at the time in medical school. So now, obviously, finished residency. We've had a stable practice for 12 years, very successful. We're branching out, doing a new building. I would say out of the friends that we went to medical school with that ended up getting married, more than 50% are now divorced.
So the plan always was to have this business together.
Correct. I think that's one of the driving forces that drove us together, was a commonality of success in business and what we do, which is medicine and helping people.
Okay, so you guys are literally partners then.
Correct.
But who's the leader?
Depends on in which context. Right? Right?
Well, explain. You explain. You explain.
Well, it depends on who's watching. Behind every great man, there's a better woman. Isn't that the saying?
I've never heard that before.
What?
So you can have full ownership over that one. Never heard that before.
I think a famous president that's dead now said that, but whatever. One of the Kennedys,
that
maybe.
the woman was better. I've
Yes,
heard behind,
like Jackie or whatever.
Behind every great man, there's a
Better woman.
I don't know about the better part.
Well, think about it. Even the Bible says, "How did we make?" He made man first, and then he's like, "Oof, let me just take a rib and let me start over and make a woman."
Start over? I don't think he was starting over.
It was a joke.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
To be the counterpart, to be that extra piece that can be the yin and the yang, right?
Right, but where's the
Right.
where's the better part come in though?
Better part meaning, I think I'm the fun one. I feel like in our industry, being medical professionals, a lot of times we can't do church and state. It's hard for us to separate that. So, like right now, I'm on vacation and my phone's on. So if anybody really needs me, I'm here. However, the covering person should be covering, right? So Dr. Heath is covering right now. I have my phone, but I can disconnect. You have to disconnect. It's hard. But I have not checked my practice fusion. I have not checked my voice messages or anything like that because he's got it handled, and vice versa when he goes on his trips.
Okay, so that's where I was going next. So who vacations more, you or him?
Actually, he does.
Really?
Way more than me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a big start for me
your
to
story.
be able to be here. Yeah. Yeah.
And well, you guys are vacationing, or you're vacationing.
Separate. I'll say separate vacations.
You're
Yes.
vacationing how often a year?
It depends. Last year with COVID, we racked up a bunch of sky miles because we didn't go anywhere. So this year we have a few vacations before baseball season starts up, and then our lives are over.
So who's making the bulk share of the money?
Well, we own a practice together, so in theory we would say 50-50.
Very 50-50.
I will say this, I do see more patients because I'm in the office more. But when he's there, he really does do a great job and brings in the money when he's there.
Well, okay, so what advice would you have for these career women that are quote unquote focusing on their career because you seem to have been able to put the personal relationship and the business together, so you're quite fortunate to have both been passionate about the same industry. But for those women who feel that they need to separate one from the other, this is what I get when I talk to women. I don't know where this concept or theory that they have to be separate. Oh, I have to focus on my career first before I can think about guys and think about dating, and I'm just so confused. Like, how are those two things? I understand time, delegating time, but these are the same women that have plenty of time to fuck off with their friends, to drink wine on Wednesdays and Thursday nights and have girls' nights and all this other bullshit that they do. That's productive in what way? It's building towards what end?
Well, it's building in that, girls, we are each other's cheerleaders, 110%. My girlfriends always have my back, no matter what. Sometimes men, especially with women that have a career or are trying to achieve a career, are not always 100%, I don't know, like on board with that. They feel very
Hold on. Says who? Says who? Because when I talk to guys, I don't get that.
Society.
They really don't care. Women work nowadays regardless, so.
Well, they do, but, you know, in different types of career paths, So say someone that's going to be a music star or a TV producer or something that's like a male position, doctor, lawyer, and then they go and they date a cop, which is, I think, just as valuable, 100%. But there are some men out there that I think can't handle a woman that has a career.
I completely disagree. I think women have become experts at coming up with ridiculous notions to explain away when they don't see something the same as a man. Whenever they don't agree with a man, they come up with their own cockamamie explanation for why he's doing what he's doing or not doing what he's doing. And all of them are so much more intricate and complicated than just simply asking him.
I was going to say, just ask.
They don't ask. There's no guys that are like, oh, I'm intimidated by a woman's career, but women swear by that. And they're basing it on what? They're basing it on noise from other women.
Right.
It's noise.
Right.
They're basing it on what other single women are saying is the explanation for why they're single and men don't want to deal with them.
Right.
And it's like, wow, there's like so many options that could come first that would be a hell of a lot more feasible.
Right.
Like maybe it's your attitude.
Right.
Maybe it's what you're prioritizing. Right. Maybe it's your stubbornness.
Let's say maybe it's all about time, because a woman's career, when you're like in the thick of it, takes time away from relationships. And if she feels like her career, then girls, then a dude, that's not the right priority.
Okay, I get it, but my point is, what the hell does that have to do with intimidated? That's the part that doesn't make sense. That's just a catchword that they go with because it makes the man sound weak and makes them sound strong.
Right.
That's not because you're strong. Men are not intimidated by other strong men. So what the hell makes you think that all of us, there's guys that are making $60K a year and they're friends with guys making $160K a year, and they have no problem spending time together, hanging out, playing golf. They're not intimidated because he makes more money. So why do women think that in personal relationships men are somehow intimidated? And then the next part that's funny is majority of the time they're not necessarily making more money than this guy either.
Right.
Because first of all, women aren't even attracted to guys making less than them. So the mere fact that they even were dating the guy, all right, they might be attracted to him, but they're not gonna date him and be in a relationship, right? So
how do you know that?
Because this is what women say and this is what the studies show. So there that goes. And my personal experience has always been the same. So the thing is now, if you were even dealing with this guy to begin with, chances are he was making equal or more than you anyhow. Yeah. So again, where does the intimidation factor come in? This is just some shit that women hide behind so they don't have to evaluate themselves and say, why is it that this guy responded the same, this guy responded the same, then this guy did the same, then this guy did the same. Oh, it's definitely not the common denominator, which would be the woman. No, it can't be that.
Right.
It just has to be men in general. Really? Really?
I see where you're coming from.
So, do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
And then there's yet to be a man, gay or straight, that's admitted, yeah, man, you know what? I was a little intimidated. Because let me tell you why that's straight cockamamie squirrel shit. I'm going to show you right now how we know that is straight up squirrel shit.
How do you know that?
Right? Because if the dude was intimidated by what she quote-unquote does, he would have never fucking approached her in the first place. True. I'm not saying that men aren't intimidated by certain women.
What about the girls that came to him first?
But when they are, they don't even approach those women. No guy says, I have the balls to approach her. I'm going to ask her out. And then she told me she was a doctor, and oh my God, I
Run
peed
away.
on myself. It doesn't work that way, and it damn sure isn't. We went out a few times, we had sex, and then I got intimidated.
Right.
3 months into it, I got so intimidated. Come on.
Hey, listen, I'm just telling you what I have seen and heard from the girls.
No, you tell me what you've heard from the girls. You haven't seen it, because it's very unlikely that women actually ever really get the reason that a guy doesn't acquiesce to their demands, requests, or whatever, or just straight up ghosts them or breaks up with them. Women are perpetually asking, why did he ghost me? So it's not like they actually know, right?
Okay.
But what happens is that they echo chamber this shit. They echo it.
Okay.
Somebody says it on a talk show, and then everybody in the crowd claps. Intimidated.
That makes sense.
He's intimidated. That's what it is.
Right.
And then they repeat it. And it's in a magazine, and it's on a TV show. So
and it's like programmed into our brains to say that's why.
Exactly.
Right.
So you have women that insist on listening to other women, whether they're personal acquaintances or they're some chick spewing some bullshit on TV. Either way, they get stuck in listening to other women about issues that are not decided by those other women. There's nobody better to ask about a man's behavior than men. It doesn't have to be men you're dating. Okay, it could be your uncle, it could be your dad, it could be so many other men, but for some reason, no man's opinion seems to matter. The same men that are smart enough to build shit, the same men that are smart enough to maintain infrastructure, the same men that are smart enough to cut you open while you're asleep and put boobs in you, those men aren't smart enough to answer a question.
Mine did a good job.
But do you see how ridiculous that notion is? Is that men somehow aren't sophisticated enough to articulate their thought process or their feelings, but yet they could build the world. They could build planes and jets and rockets. They can build Xboxes and PlayStation 5s. They can build iPhones. But they can't tell you why they're not interested in it.
Why can't they tell you? Why can't they articulate it?
They can, is my point. The point is that women act like men can't speak for themselves.
Or they just don't want to hear what the guys have to say.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. They don't want to hear it, and they've already been trained to not even value what men have to say. Yet, the same women will be asking, why won't he commit to me? Why won't he do this? Why don't you fucking ask him?
Right.
Duh. And this is not something that, this is their entire life. From they start liking boys up until the grave, they never just listen to what guys have to say. It's never important. It's never been important. So, whereas guys were the opposite, because we got to listen to women if we want to get laid. So, by default, men have to somewhat care what women think and what women want and how women feel. And I use this example all the time with women so they get what I'm trying to say. A lot of the things that women say are really stupid, but they won't know that because men won't tell them. And the reason why men won't tell them is because men are desperately trying not to offend women.
So they can get laid.
Right, because they want to sleep with them.
Right.
But unfortunately, women don't follow that same, train of thought. So what happens is, women end up saying a lot of things that's going to exclude them from a relationship. But the guy doesn't actually tell them. But he does proceed to sleep with them. So then after he's done sleeping with them now, that's the end of that.
Right.
Not because he's a player, not because he's a fuckboy, not because he's a piece of shit, not because he's a liar, but just simply because you said some really damning things that entire time between meeting him and sleeping with him. That reduced you to just something,
just a piece of
right,
ass.
something to sleep with.
Right.
And the women have no idea. So what do? What I was talking about earlier. They make up all these explanations in their head that make them not to blame.
Right.
You see what I mean? So,
I do.
So now it's that he's used me and he's all these other things. He's afraid of commitment and blah, blah, blah. And then you see that same guy, 8 months later in a serious relationship. And then a year later, he's having a baby.
Right.
And then 6 months after that, he's getting married. So what just happened to your theory?
Right.
You see what I mean? And then it's why couldn't he do that with me? Maybe because you didn't behave like her. That's why wouldn't that be your first thought? If he dated you, then he dated her. You had the same equal shot that girl had. Hello. And don't get me wrong, it goes both ways. Because if a guy is dealing with a chick and he wants to fool around, he wants to play around, he doesn't want to be serious, he doesn't want to take it seriously, and then she eventually says, all right, I had enough of this, and then the next guy wipes her up. That guy can't be like, oh, hey, are you going to marry that guy? Are you going to have a baby with that guy? It's like you had the same opportunity as that guy.
Right.
In fact, you had it before him.
Right.
But you didn't want to do that, and she moved on. Mm-hmm. So this is where we are, and it's. I'm not saying this for the benefit of men. I'm actually saying this for the benefit of women, because that's who's suffering. That's who's getting around in a circle, getting drunk on a weeknight with their friends, asking the same dumbass questions and giving themselves the same dumbass answers, and then coming to the conclusion of men are shit, men are trash.
Right.
Really? Is that what it is? Men are trash?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but you're married.
True.
But I'm sure you have unmarried friends that try to give you advice on your marriage. Don't lie.
100%, and goes in one ear and out the other, because misery loves company, right?
I'm glad you know that, because there are many marriages that have been ruined because you have women, once again, listening to women.
Other women, right.
Absolutely.
And TV shows.
If a woman wants to like refer a surgeon, all right, you might can listen to her.
Right.
But if she wants to give dating advice to a male or a female, yeah, be careful with that. I'm not saying there isn't women that give great advice. It's just highly unlikely. And first and foremost, we should at least be looking at the state of this chick's, relationship, or where she's at, because single women love to give advice.
Right. And they're single for a reason, people.
Which blows my mind. It's like someone that doesn't own a home giving you real estate
on a loan
advice.
and mortgage.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck would you know about this? Now, don't get me wrong. Homeless people give amazing advice, but they give amazing advice on what not to do, young blood. You don't want to do that, because what's going to happen is, those, you might want to listen to them when they talk about stuff like that, because they're showing you, hey, this is what I did and this is what happened. But I'm damn sure not going to let him be my financial advisor. So I just don't understand why women are so irresponsible when it comes to it. Why is that so hard for them to understand? That who they should be taking advice from, who should they should let influence them.
Right. Well, I think again a lot of it comes from social media, entertainment shows.
That was
and
around
what
before social media, though.
Well, yes and no. You know, there's always been a cell phone or a TV show or something out
there's
there.
always
like
been Ricky
Oprah,
Lake or Oprah?
Yeah.
That's true.
So, and that's again, we watch it, we're programmed to believe that what we see is true, and then we take it home and then we feed off of it. And that's what we have to go by. Instead of asking someone that's been married 30 years, hey, how do you make your marriage work? You know? Like, what am I doing wrong?
Why is it that women are more supportive of gay men than they are of straight men?
I think it's because gay guys are more like girls. There's less intimidation between the gay guy wanting to sleep with us, so we can kind of just say whatever we want and they can say it back, and there's no like, oh, he doesn't like me now, oh crap, I missed that opportunity.
Yeah,
he's like a sister.
Yeah.
And they are the best too. They will legit tell you the truth, because girls half-ass the truth a lot of times. I will say that.
Yeah, but how much can a gay guy really know about a straight man's truth?
True, but he still has a penis at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so
but
we still assume that he is thinking because he's a biological dude.
But he's not, though.
Well, you might be right. I don't know. I have a few gay friends and I love them. They're fabulous. Love you, Arch.
But they're not. They definitely aren't. They definitely can't relate to straight men. So I don't understand how women are getting their advice from gay dudes just simply because they're dudes. And then it seems so ridiculous, because if that's the case, then just get it from a straight dude. Then if you're gonna get it,
but women are not allowed to be friends with straight guys. There's a whole stigma behind that.
Women are friends with straight guys. It's not a two-way street. It's them taking, benefiting, and the guy either just being used and manipulated, and he genuinely isn't interested in sleeping with them, or he's being used and manipulated and he's a piece of shit because he is trying to sleep with her and he's pretending to be a friend to do so. Either way, there are very few women that actually treat male friends like friends. There just isn't many of them. There are some that understand the concept of friendship,
right? But
most of them don't. Most of them is just, you give me stuff.
And I think that comes with maturity.
You listen to me for free.
Right.
And I don't actually care about you or your problems. I'm not out here trying to get you a girlfriend, but I want you to listen to all my boy problems that are probably my fault anyway.
Right. Friendship should be like a marriage. You should always put that person first in your life. Like, hey, how can I help you, instead of what can you do for me? And I feel like, again, that comes with maturity. That comes with maybe how you were raised, what happened to you in the past. Did a friend burn you? I don't know. So I can't speak on that. All I can tell you is the way that I treat my friends is the way that I treat everyone else in my life. I put them above and beyond on a pedestal. Like, what can I do for you first and foremost? Period. And if you can do something for me, great. But I don't expect anything from my friendships. And that's one thing that my husband and I, we kind of argue about, because I have a lot of friends.
I was about to say you should. You
yeah,
really should.
I have a lot of friends, and he gets so mad at me when a friend does something shitty. But that's what, I mean, I can't tell you what Nikki did and why she treated me that way.
If your friends are doing something shitty, they're absolutely, definitely not friends, number one. And if they're not adding value to your life, they also aren't friends.
Right. And that's one thing through COVID that I don't know if you've gone through this or not, but a lot of people that I thought were my friends really were not. And you can kind of see people's true colors when they're at home all the time and there's more time to talk and to spend, you know, quality time on the phone or Zoom calls and things like that, to really get to know somebody and how they treat you and the things that they don't do for you that you thought that they were doing for you your whole life. So
yeah, I mean, that's tricky, but friendship is a thing that's taught in childhood anyway.
Correct.
So I think we're missing a lot of lessons. This modern generation is missing a ton of lessons.
They're too busy doing selfies by the pool.
Yeah, and there's the father's being gone. So what do you think about, because I mean you have children, right?
Yes, I have 2 boys.
So what type of father is your husband?
Well, again, he's a physician, so he works long hours. But he has recently, over the last probably 2 years, stopped working on the weekends. So he is able to be at the kids' baseball games, football games, all the things. So very good father figure.
So you got 2 boys, age what and what?
13 and 8.
All right, so the oldest one is coming up on it pretty soon.
He's already there.
Yeah, you got about 700, 800 days before. Yeah, you got less than 1,000 days.
No stiff socks under the bed yet, thank goodness.
Before he's gonna be fretting over some girl. So, as a woman, first of all, how do you feel about the dating economy that your sons are heading towards, with the type of things like before you know it, he'll be the age at which his female counterparts will be on OnlyFans. They'll be on Seeking Arrangements. They'll be sugar babies.
So define what those are, because I'm not down with all that. What is that?
Oh, lucky you. Okay, well, sugar babies.
Sounds like a candy ad.
It's basically just young women that are prostituting themselves sexually as well as time-wise to men.
And this is legal?
They have apps for it, which is interesting.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know why it's so hard for people to see that there's an agenda here, but I've come to just have to struggle with the fact that the average human being is very, very low IQ. It just is what it is. And I've been reading about this
self-esteem.
I've been reading, it's not even about just the low self-esteem. I've been reading for decades about how the elites are constantly working to dumb down the population in every possible way, and they have definitely succeeded. We have the dumbest people that have ever walked the earth. It's really sad, and people get offended when you say that, but guess what? I don't care. I care about the truth, and people are really dog shit stupid these days. So
from an IQ level, or just from like why are you doing that? You're stupid level.
Like, both. There's no logic. There's no deductive reasoning. There's no independent thought. Nothing like that. Nothing's calculated. Nobody's thinking a couple steps ahead. For women to be wondering why they're having terrible experiences in their lives after doing OnlyFans, it's like, how could you not see that coming?
Right.
That's ridiculous. For women to realize that guys don't want to marry them and be with them after they've already given their body to several other men, what part about that is surprising? So, number one, they're dumbing them down, but also I think the fathers being gone is a lot worse than we could have ever predicted, because that means without the fathers, people can't have basic rationale. They can't even think 5 steps ahead. Also, they lack any type of discipline whatsoever. They have no idea of a concept of self-discipline, delayed gratification. There's no morals. There's no virtues. There's no honesty. There's no nothing. There's no integrity. So this I feel like is a direct result of single mothers dominating the raising process, the process of raising their children. They're dominating it.
Well, I would say if they're dominating it and they're doing it well, they could, spending more time, being present.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with the absence of a father?
Well, when one person's absent, right? Like think of a sense. Like you lose your taste of smell. What happens? All of a sudden, you can hear better, right?
I can't agree with that logic. That's ridiculous. That's like
It's not.
that's like saying, oh man, you know what? I don't have this one thing that's completely different from this other thing, but I'm going to compensate for not having it with the other thing that has nothing to do with it anyway.
Well, I would
What-
say this.
what?
When children are in their younger years and they're, say, I wasn't home or my husband wasn't home, that's when the other person really needs to step it up, right? It's just like being at work. When, like last week, we had half of our office out with COVID. Guess what? Everybody had to do double work to keep up.
Yeah, but those people are qualified to do the same job. I don't know why
So you're
women
saying
seem
that
to think
women
that
are
men
not able to do, like, to raise a
absolutely
child?
not. Can men breastfeed? No.
That's a physical thing.
Everything about men
That's
and
a
women
physical.
is different because we are physically different. We think differently because
Right.
we're physically different. We feel
Right.
differently because we are physically different.
Right.
So everything that you do emotionally and mentally is a manifestation of your physical anyway.
Okay.
So you can't
But
say
what does that have to do with discipline and consequences?
hold on. Let me explain what I'm trying to say here, because single fathers far outperform single mothers. The studies have been done. They get far better results in raising children without the mother. But they are not like filling in for the mother. They're not actually compensating for what's missed by the mother. They're not becoming more affectionate. They're not becoming more nurturing. Okay, they're not becoming women
you're saying nurturing is not as important
because
as-
because the mom isn't there.
Right.
They're just simply doing what men do, and that's not better than having a mother and a father. It's just simply better than having just a mother. So that's the way that goes. It's not my opinion, okay? It's the facts. The best scenario for a child is to not only be raised in a household with both parents, but both parents being committed and married. That's the
Correct.
best scenario.
I would agree with
best
that.
outcomes.
Best scenario.
The second best outcomes are when the single parent is the father. Okay? The worst results is when the children obviously have no parents at all. So where do you think the single mom falls?
I'd have to see that study.
It falls right before worst. Okay? So single mothers aren't doing a great job. I'm sorry. They seem to confuse their level of effort with results. Just like people confuse the equality of opportunity with the equality of outcome. It's not the same thing. And it's mostly women that confuse these things and conflate these things. So hold on, let me finish the point. You get what I'm trying to say. So when you see women underperforming in certain areas and women think, oh, it's not fair, it's not equal opportunity. No, if things have been put in play for there to be an equal opportunity, there's an equal opportunity. The reason why there isn't an equal outcome is simply because men and women aren't the same, and men are outperforming women in that particular area. That's it. But they think because you don't have 50% men doing this and 50% women doing this, there's an inequality of options. No, there's just an inequality of the performance, meaning one just happens to be better than the other. Like what the fuck? So if you take a person that's 5'10" and you take a person that's 6 foot and you hand them a basketball and say, I'm going to give you this much space to run up to the basket and dunk the basketball, is that not an equal opportunity? But the taller guy's far more likely to dunk that basketball.
Right.
Because he has the advantage.
Right.
So because he dunks the basketball successfully more times than the person 4 inches shorter than him, was there discrimination somewhere? There was no discrimination. Everything was the same. Same basket, same distance, same ball. One guy just happened to be tall. He outperformed him. So he got that. He dominates that lane. But I'm sure there's something that the 5'10" guy can beat the 6'2" guy in. I'm pretty sure. So
Probably a better point guard.
Right. So we have to stop confusing these things. Women need to stop thinking that, oh, I'm going to be the mom and the dad.
Right.
Like what? What?
Right.
How? You don't even have enough bass in your voice to discipline a child verbally.
Yes, we do.
Right? You don't even have the strength or the size to discipline your son physically. So what are you really saying right now? And when someone comes to try to molest your daughter, you're not going to fight them, beat them up, and you're not going to be intimidating.
I'd pull a gun.
You're not going to be intimidating to them to prevent them from attempting to plot and scheme on your children. And that's why the children that are molested dominate in the single mother category. The kids that are molested, right, are like almost always the children of a single mother.
But what's their socioeconomic skill?
Why? Because the predator's looking at that and saying, oh, snap, no dad around?
Right.
No dad around?
And then the mom's probably not around, and that's kind of a learned behavior as well.
Yeah, but there's all type of predators is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
If there's a guy who's in his 30s and he's like, yeah, I'm a drug dealer and I need to get these young boys out here on the block, on the corner to sell my narcotics for me. Do you really think he's gonna be trying to manipulate and coerce a kid that has his father in the house and they have a good relationship? It's unlikely that that's gonna work. Right, but if it's a single mom scenario, all he has to do is wait till the mom's not paying attention. He gonna get in that young boy's head and say, "Get out here in these streets, get this money. You could be like me," and that kid's gonna gravitate towards that because he doesn't already have a father figure. It's really not that hard to figure out. And if a pimp is trying to pimp out some young girl, he's not gonna go for the young girl that lives with her dad. Really?
Right.
Really?
No. Not a protector there.
Exactly. He's gonna go for the chick that's growing up in a house with a single mom who's too busy on Tinder trying to meet guys.
Yes.
The mom herself is too busy trying to go out and find some new dick.
Instead of just being a woman, getting a job, and raising her kids by herself.
Even if she did that, her kids would be still susceptible, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But of course, the female mind is going to start pointing out exceptions. They're going to start pointing out famous people that was raised by single moms, and I'm going to hold my face and say, Jesus Christ. Now, if I say this woman's an idiot, now I hate women, right?
Right.
Now I'm a misogynist if I say I can't believe that women could be so naive. You're going to tell me about Beyonce? You're going to tell me about some NBA player that was raised by a single mom? Really? What percentage of the population that plays basketball makes it to the NBA? Right. And you're going to tell me about the exception that was raised by a single mother? Good Lord. But this is where their thought process is, that they want to gamble their children's future on an exception, rather than saying what is the most likely route to success. What I would rather see is a bunch of women that are upset, miserable, and unsatisfied in marriages, but they're there for their children. And the moment their kids get around 16, they're like, yo, I'm filing for divorce. I wanted to divorce you 10 years ago, but I needed to keep a home for my children. And you know who I hear that sacrifice? You know who I hear willing to make that sacrifice? Men. Men are sitting through relationships and marriages that they can't stand. They're miserable, but they're like, she's the mother of my kids. I can't leave because my kids. Yeah. So she has to force him out. She has to get the state to remove him. She has to take him to court for child support. She has to file order of protection. She has to lie to be able for the judge to be like, oh, you can't be within X amount of her. She has to do all of this to separate him.
She puts herself before her kids.
Right, like he's that motivated to be by his kids. This kid didn't even say sorry. So you see what I'm trying to say? This is what it is. And I think that this shouldn't even be something that men have to say or someone like me has to say. I think other women should be pointing this out like, whoa, bitch. How are you putting yourself before your kids? How are you putting your dating life before you're talking about, oh, but mommy has to be happy too? Wait, what?
No, mommy doesn't.
You had kids.
Right.
If you wanted to live a selfish life, be like me. Don't have kids. That's why I don't have kids. One, because I can't control the situation because this society doesn't allow you to dictate and control your children like a man should. I own them. They came out of my nuts. I should be able to own my children.
50%.
No, I'm dead serious. I should be able to own my children until they turn 18. I don't want to hear nothing. I made you, right? But yet the state steps in. Every opportunity, the state steps in and tells you how to raise your children, what you can and can't do, right? So I already know that. But even if that was still a picnic, I probably wouldn't do it until I'm ready to dedicate myself to someone else.
Right?
Exactly. So how you have so many women out there that have children, but they're not ready to stop spelling every word with me. Every word spelled me. No, me. No, me. No, me. It's how me feels. It's me. Right? To the point where women think that they should be the arbiters of what happens in men's video games. They should be the arbiters of what's in male magazines, what's on male TV shows, what's in male spaces. Everything is about them. They think they should be able to push themselves into companies that men built and then say that men are discriminating for not hiring women. I'm sorry, sister. Why don't you go start your own business and hire whoever the fuck you want? And when you go do those studies, majority of women that have their own businesses, run their own businesses, they tend not to want to hire women. Wow. And this is what female CEOs are saying. They would rather not hire women because it's problematic. They're catty, they complain, they're liable to quit when they get a husband that makes more money than them. They go on maternity leave.
There's their birthday. They have to have off.
Exactly.
On their birthday.
It's my birthday. Okay.
It's a 25th birthday. It's not like 21 or 40. Right,
it doesn't matter what birthday. The point is that you wanted this job.
Right.
Just like you wanted to be this mom. You wanted to have this baby.
Right.
Right?
Take
okay.
ownership of it.
Exactly. This is what comes with it: responsibility and sacrifice. So we're on the same page with this. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
So we have, this serious issue with that, and nobody is allowed to criticize or critique women. And the problem is, even when you say these things, the first thing that's coming in a woman's head is somebody's trying to steal my lollipop. Somebody's trying to pee on my parade. It's like, time out. Women are the ones that are suffering the most from this.
Right.
Lack of discipline hurts that person the most. So if somebody's saying that, it's not to their benefit. It's like, you being disciplined, you having self-discipline doesn't benefit me.
Right.
It benefits you. Okay? Women not sleeping around, that benefits them if they want to get married and if they want to have some type of value and love for themselves. Right. Women not being on OnlyFans, they think you're trying to hate on their money. Really? Really? Because it's a rough life after porn.
Wow.
So who are we really trying to protect when we say these things?
Right.
And then also now it's very dangerous when women have this reckless attitude, because guess who suffers the most now? The children. The children are suffering. There's plenty of kids suffering because the mom is on OnlyFans. You see what I'm trying to say? Yeah. What happens when the sugar baby gets pregnant and then thinks it's a good idea to keep it because the guy has money? Now she's thinking, ooh, guaranteed money every month. I don't even have to sleep with him or spend time. He's gonna have to pay that child support. So I'm gonna tell him he's gonna give me all this money for an abortion, and I'm not gonna have the abortion. I'm gonna keep that money and I'm gonna keep milking him. All of that sounds good up until your kid gets old enough to talk. Right. Now comes the pain and the suffering for that child. Right. You see what I'm trying to say?
No, I agree with you. 100%.
And that guy's already gotten over the situation, the cause of it. He's already accepted, you know what? I screwed up. I shouldn't even have been playing this game, but now I need to be in my child's life. And that sugar baby's like, nope, nope. And she's deciding what's what, and she's half his age. Mm-hmm. So he's 48, she's 24, and she's calling the shots. Does that sound like a good situation?
Not at all.
But that's where we are now as a society. And I feel like women are the ones that have the voice now, but they're not using it. They're not using it to help themselves,
right.
to help
they're
other
not
women.
using it for the gooder.
Right. They're not speaking up to help anybody.
Right.
For
themselves.
All they're saying is, I want the bag. Right. I want the bag. I want more stuff, and I want to do less for it. I don't want to be accountable for anything. I don't want to be criticized for anything. Nope. No judgment on me. I want life to be wonderful for me, and I don't want nobody to tell me nothing. And then they run into a wall at some point in time because they stop being young and attractive. And then, what happens now? Now the truth gets harder to avoid because people don't really care what you think anymore.
And that's rap.